How fast is the fastest F1 Esports Qualifier? So, the first F1 Esports qualifying round then has gone live on F1 2020. It is around Monza, and we are going to go on board with the fastest qualifier that I could find. He has kindly sent us footage. We'll get into that in just a moment, but this is the event then. So, qualifying event for the 2021 F1 Esports Series. Can Valtteri Bottas take P2 or change history and take P1 in the 2019 Italian Grand Prix? This is a points-based event. Points will be awarded based on skill, speed, difficulty, and assist test settings, with additional points awarded for clean racing. So, what does that mean in practice then? It means if you want to be near the top, you have to have everything off, as you've got here. Obviously, traction control, ABS, pit assist, all that stuff, all completely off. You also have to be on 110 AI, so the fastest possible AI. Manual, you have to use no flashbacks, you have to get no penalties, no warnings, no nothing. You have to be perfect throughout this event and have it on the hardest possible settings. Now, this is the setup that I used for my effort, which we're going to look at first. And this is probably close to what the person I'm going to show you used. I haven't got his exact setup because obviously he is part of an esports team. Again, I'll go into detail about who he is in a moment when we go on board with him. But he didn't want to give me his exact setup. But he basically said it's a top time trial setup that's been tweaked to make it more stable. So that's exactly what I've done. I've taken a top time trial setup and I've just reduced the rear suspension a little bit. Otherwise, it's just so oversteery. I probably could have reduced the rear wing as well in hindsight. But anyway then, so we're going to go on board now with my fastest lap in this event. So you do get extra points for the fastest lap. You get points for your overall race time, your fastest lap, and then things like if you haven't had any penalties, haven't used any flashbacks, how many assists you had on or off, what level the AI is on, etc. But really, the only real variables, once you've got all that set, the only real variables are your fastest lap and then how fast your overall time is. That's all that really matters. Of course, you do have to get P2, but if you want to be anywhere near the top, of course, getting P2 is very, very easy. That's the objective of this event, but that is a given if you're going to be anywhere near the top of the leaderboards, which you will see in just a moment when we go on board with the fastest F1 Esports Qualifier. But as I said, this is my fastest lap. Now, take a look at this lap. I will tell you, with the benefit of hindsight, this run here that I only did about 40 minutes of practice, but of course it is, effectively my job to play this game. So I've had a fair amount of play time on this game. And I'm top 1%, just about. I'm about 50, I think it was, or so in the world. And there's been about 5,000 people or so that have done the event. So I'm roughly top 1% on this game, okay? So this is not a bad lap, okay? It's not bad. Now, just bear this lap in mind, okay? You're probably watching this lap, hopefully, thinking that was an okay lap. I did a 1 minute 20.580. Now, just bear that map in mind. It wasn't really any mistakes. I went a tiny bit deep in the first turn. That was about it. But there wasn't really any other mistakes. Now, this is the only other real significant event that happened in my run. You see I get a little bit caught up behind Lewis Hamilton, which cost me probably half a second or so of my overall time. My fastest lap there was pretty much the fastest I could have done, but yeah, this did cost me a little bit of time, which of course affected my final score. I do eventually manage to get past him up into the inside of the next turn. Bit of a dive bomb because I knew I needed to get past him through these corners, otherwise my run would be completely ruined. And yeah, other than that, this run was pretty solid. I get to the end there, lap 53, we're comfortably P2, 3 seconds ahead of P3, and then 6.7 seconds behind Charles Leclerc in P1, and there we go. That's confirmation of my points. That's how I did. As I said, everything's pretty fixed, really. Your best lap score and your total time score, all that really matters once you've kind of got the rest of them down. Of course, you don't have to be clean as well. You need to get no warnings at all. So that's where I am, 208,000. As I said, that puts me top 1% or so in the world. Now, let's have a look at us on the leaderboard. So there we are, 44th in the world then. 4,701 people have qualified, so that puts us top 1%. So a solid time. I'm sure I could improve it. I'm sure a lot of people do go a lot faster, which we are going to find out in just a second. But not a bad time at all. I was actually quite happy with that, and really it would be a case of just sweating out to try and improve it, which I'm not actually that interested in doing because I cannot get to the top of the leaderboard. Now, this is who we're going to go on board with. His online username is Revo. His real name is Ethan. He is a development driver for Sauber Esports. So he is seriously quick, and he was pretty much the fastest F1 esports driver. When I requested his footage, he was the fastest. You see someone's managed to pip him there. Of course, the top guy is hacking. You cannot go 10 seconds quicker than he's gone. It would be physically impossible. So clearly that guy is hacking. I'm just going to pause the video really quickly there to ask if you are enjoying this video, if you do enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel. It does really, really help a channel of my size. Last month, over 90% of people who watch my videos were not subscribed. I'm trying to go full time on YouTube at the moment, and every subscriber really does help. So please do subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy this video. Let's get back to it. So anyway, this is his run. We are going to watch this entire run, as hopefully this is what you've come to this video for, to watch this run. Now, apologies for the slightly lower quality on this one. He did send me a slightly compressed video, and also apparently a lot of the esports drivers do run lower graphical settings. He said he has actually got a good PC, but he purposely runs lower graphical settings just to make sure that there's never any glitches, or, you know, if you run higher settings, you could just get a little lag spike and you could just lose a few FPS, and they don't want that, of course. They want the absolute maximum FPS. So that's the extent you've got to go to be an esports driver. Now, this is his very first lap. Of course, I didn't show you my first lap. I only really showed you my hot lap. And he actually doesn't go for a hot lap properly until he gets up to Lewis Hamilton, which happens very, very quickly. So remember that my best time with a lot of overtake ERS, I didn't get any DRS, but a lot of overtake ERS and a lot of rich fuel and really pushing hard and really just trying to nail that lap, was a 1 minute 20.5. Now, this is the opening lap for him. You see the bot right there? He's still got 80% of ERS charge. He's barely used any, really. He's saving up, ready to go for that hot lap when he does get the DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Now, let's see what this opening lap is going to be. Hopefully, you guys have already seen a difference with how he's driving, and we'll run through that just after we get the time here. So he's going to the inside there to try and maximize the, or minimize rather, the distance to the line. There we go. A 1 minute 20.423. He is a 10th faster than me, with barely using any overtake ERS. So he is seriously quick. A little bit of a lock up there, but I will say this run isn't perfect. I'm sure he can improve it by a few tenths over the course of these sort of 5 or 6 laps, whatever it is. It's not a perfect run, but it is a very, very good run. I mean, for me, the key difference between how he's driving and how I'm driving is just pure confidence. He just brakes so late there, look, just sends it in. Happy with the rear end just being slightly sliding right to the very outer limit of where he can go to the track. And interestingly, I watched his run and I thought, right, so I did my run and then watched his run and I thought, well, I'm probably going to see, you know, a load of things I'm doing wrong, he's doing differently, you know, little tricks I'm missing out on, etc, etc. There wasn't any. There really wasn't any, which actually is just shows you how ridiculously fast this is. Because, you know, obviously if there was a way that, you know, he was using completely different gears, or if he's you know, very clearly got a massively different setup, or he's using a really different ERS strategy, obviously I quite easily go, well, if I adopt that, I can probably gain a few seconds. But no, he is pretty much doing what I'm doing. His gears are slightly different to mine in a couple of corners. So in the first turn, just coming up, he stays in third gear, I go down to second. All minor differences, and that's just more because I'm used to a default setup. He's used to an esports setup like he's using now. I'm sure his setup is a little bit better than mine as well, but again, I'd say they're largely similar. I would say they're no more than probably a tenth or two a lap quicker. But you will see by the end of this, I am on average about a second a lap slower than Revo. 1 second a lap. And as I said previously, currently my time puts me top 1%. So to go from top 1% to top time, you need to find another second a lap. 1 second a lap is absolutely ridiculous. You see him here just closing up on Lewis Hamilton, again using every millimetre of the track. And I will say he flirts with the track limits a lot more than I was doing. So you see here, look, right out to the line. If that inside tyre goes just over that line, then it will give you a warning and that whole run will be invalid. Once again, right out to the line there. He does manage to get DRS on Lewis Hamilton, so he's going to try and come up to him the best he can, because this next lap he will go for his fastest lap. So he's stayed up quite a bit of ERS still. He's still got 60% ERS charge. So he saved that up, ready to go for his hot lap. And again, just drifting it through Ascari there. I mean, the amount of speed he carries through there is absolutely insane. And I would say he probably brakes a little bit later than me. Not a huge amount later than me. A little bit. But he then just carries so much more speed than me. I think I probably trail brake a bit more than him. And he just carries so much speed through the corners. It's absolutely insane. As I said, right on the absolute limit as well of every single track limits that is possible. So here we go. This is going to be his hot lap. He's got DRS wide open. He's managed to overtake Lewis Hamilton, sticking to the outside for the best possible racing line. Getting it all slowed down, going over the curbs. That's the same line that I took. Again, sticking to third gear there, and I was going down to second. So that probably helps him very slightly on the exit. Going up to overtake ERS then to try and maximise the speed down this straight up to rich fuel as well. Coming out to the end of the first sector. How much up is he going to be on his previous time? Half a second. He's half a second up on his already quicker than me time. So he's so quick. Coming to the middle sector again. Once again, absolute limit everywhere. Just skimming the gravel there on the outside. Coming through, I always forget the corner's name. Doesn't matter. Is it a Degna? Maybe it's a Degna. Who knows? But going through again. Again, look at that, right on the limit. If he was, honestly, about 10 centimetres wider than that, he would have got a warning, and this whole run would have been pointless. Because, again, if you get a single warning, you lose points. And points mean prizes in this. Points is how you qualify for the F1 Esports events. And he's actually gone a little bit wide for Ascari there. But again, just keeping it pinned there and just floating it through. 2 purple sectors. He's just got 1 more corner to go then. Can he improve his time? Well, we know he's going to improve his time. How much will he improve it by? So as I said, his 20.4 is already a tenth quicker than me, and he wasn't really even pushing. Then going up to overtake ERS then for the run to the line. What will his time be as we get there? 1 minute 19.790. 6 tenths up on his previous. And that is, I think it's around 8 tenths or so quicker than us. 7 or 8 tenths. 7 or 8 tenths quicker of absolute pure raw pace. So that's actually not a ridiculous amount, because of course he got DRS. I would say my raw pace is probably about half a second or so off. But again, I feel like I was driving well. I was actually really happy with my run. I drove really well. And, you know, I knew these guys were going to be quicker than me. But again, I didn't actually watch his run before I did my run. And to see how much quicker he is, I mean, where is half a second a lap? I've got no idea. I can probably find a couple of tenths with an absolutely perfect lap. Where is the rest of them? I've got no idea. But actually, more than that, yes, he's say half a second a lap quicker on raw pace. But actually, by the end of this race, he manages to catch up right to the back of Charles Leclerc. Now, remember, I was 6.7 seconds back on Charles Leclerc. So he's about 6 seconds or so quicker than me over the course of these, I think it was 6 laps or so. Maybe it's 7 laps, I can't really remember. But to be on average over this run, he is a second a lap quicker than me. 1 second a lap. So even though my raw pace is only half a second off, clearly my consistency needs some work. And again, I was happy with my run. There was no big mistakes. There was no huge drift moments. You know, there was the odd tiny lock up here and there that pushed me a metre wide. But other than that, it was pretty good. You know, okay, I hit Lewis Hamilton. That probably cost me half a second when I was trying to overtake him. Fair enough. But I'm still looking at a 6-second gap to where I need to be in order to qualify for F1 Esports. So, to me, this is why now I don't even qualify for these events. Or don't even try, I should say. I don't even try qualifying for these events, because I tried a few years back and I got very, very close. I think I was a couple of hundredths per lap off. I got very, very close to qualifying, and I ended up like top 20 or something. I needed to be top 10. It was something like that. I got really, really close to qualifying and going through to the next round of F1 Esports, but I didn't quite manage it, and I did sweat that event a lot. I spent a lot of hours getting there, and I'm sure I could get, you know, I don't know, top 0.5%, maybe. I'm currently, you know, almost exactly 1%, top 1%. I could probably get to top 0.5% if I really sweated it, if I spent, you know, another 10 hours trying to do this event. But I just know that these guys are absolute aliens. I have got no chance whatsoever, realistically, of getting to this level this consistently. I reckon if I sweated it loads, I could maybe do the best time that he's done. You know, a high 19. I could probably get to that time if I really sweated it. What I cannot do is go 6 seconds quicker across 6 laps. That is, for me, is that he's able to be right on the absolute limit every single lap, every single corner. Almost a perfect run. As I said, it isn't actually a perfect run. There's a few moments he runs a little bit deep and it's not perfect. I'm sure there's another couple of tenths that he could find. But it pretty much is perfect. I mean, he said to me this is his final run. Whether I believe that or not, I don't know. F1 Esports guys do like to eke out every single tenth of a second. This is what they live for. But, I mean, he's just so quick. I'm sure he can improve by a couple of tenths. He doesn't need to. He's already a development driver for Sauber Esports, so I imagine he probably doesn't need to. He probably doesn't need to qualify. He's probably not actually trying to qualify. He's probably already sort of, you know, signed by Sauber, and he could probably be a race driver if he's impresses Sauber enough. I'd imagine. I've not spoken to him on that directly, so he doesn't really need to qualify. So that's why he's not sweating it. But I mean, I just cannot get to this level. I cannot get to this level. This, to me, is alien level, and that is really the only way to describe it. And, you know, I've raced with esports drivers before. Even in fixed setups leagues where we've all got the same setups, and they are just insane. Like, they are next level. I'm sure it's the same with real life F1 drivers against, you know, your average your average kart or your average, you know, open wheel race or whatever. I'm sure they're similar. They're just you know, solidly ahead. But it's I honestly, I'm lost for words, because it's so hard to sum up how good these guys are. I mean, here's, because you get up to Charles Leclerc now, which is 1.2 back. Let's see how much he gains through this first couple of corners alone. Potentially a little bit deep there. And there we go. He's gained that time. He's gained about 3 tenths through those 2 corners alone. And then bear in mind, this is 110 AI. This is the fastest the AI goes in F1 2020. And he is just acting like they are just noob drivers, new to the game, just picked the game up this week. It's only his second race, and he's just going to drive around the outside of him. Like, that's how he's acting. And yeah, he's now only just 7 tenths back from Charles Leclerc, so he will get DRS then on this final lap, which is certainly going to help him. He did send me a previous effort that he did, which I think was about, I think it's about 4 or 5 tenths or so slower than this run overall. And he said it's because he didn't get DRS on this straight here. So see, now he's got DRS. That will help him. So he is going to gain a couple of tenths from that. See, now he's just less than half a second behind Charles Leclerc. Again, just absolutely sick. Look at that. Just, if I was drifting there through Ascari, big drift on the exit. He was probably very, very scared there of going off track and disallowing this whole run. He just about managed to avoid it though. Coming out through the final, or will be coming through the final turn, just 3 tenths back from Charles Leclerc. Will Charles Leclerc get in the way? He actually probably has got in the way a little bit, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to get past Charles Leclerc. He needs to go quite a bit faster to be able to get past Charles Leclerc for the line, but he gets slipstream to the line, and there we go. That is what I would call an aliens run on F1 Esports Qualifier. And as I said, he was right behind Charles Leclerc there, and I was, what, 6.7 seconds back from Charles Leclerc, so he is significantly faster. And let's have another look at the leaderboard now then. He is 3rd place at the moment. The top guy is definitely a cheater. He is actually 2nd in this event, but as you can see, his time is actually faster than the guy in P2. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but the guy in P2. And that would be because the guy in P2 would have got a better fastest lap, so he probably would have done a mid-19 fastest lap. And you did see that Ethan there did go a little bit deep in the first turn on his fastest run, so he probably could improve it very, very slightly, which is probably where the time's lost there. But anyway, guys, that has been the fastest F1 Esports Qualifier. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I did a video like this in the past. We did how hard is it to qualify for an F1 Esports, and as I mentioned previously, I've done the video of of how close I got to qualifying previously. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please do subscribe for more content like this, and I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.